Mel Gibson destroys Kamala Harris. That was hard. We got the video. We've got lots of video, including showing just how bad Kamala Harris is. We have some Fox News stuff. But this is going to be some interesting discussion. I'm glad you guys are here to hear it, because if I didn't have anybody listen or no one subscribed, I'd just be sitting here talking to myself and everyone would think I was crazy, like a Democrat. Welcome to Doug in Exile. I'm Doug TenNapel. This is where the happy patriots are. You can click the link down under the store now. I made some mugs and t-shirts. If you guys are looking for some merch, it's the highest quality I could find. Thanks for watching. Let's get to Mel Gibson.
The president is being voted on in days. What's your thoughts?
Oh man, that's a big question.
What's wrong?
I don't think it's going to surprise anyone who I vote for.
It's not going to surprise anyone because we can all guess. He is a super devout, like one of those I don't know, some kind of Catholic, Knights Templar or some, I don't know what the name is. I'm a Protestant, but obviously he's going to support Trump.
I'm going to guess.
Can we go in? Yeah.
I'm going to guess Trump. Is that a bad guess?
I think it's a pretty good guess.
It's a good guess. No one even needs to be guessing. That's not the part of the clip that's really funny. But I think more and more Hollywood people who used to distance themselves from Mel Gibson and say, you're a nut, they're going to start voting like him. They're going to start voting for Trump.
What do you think the world will be like in a second term? With President Trump's second term? A lot of people
I know what it'll be like if we let her in.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And that ain't good.
Yeah.
Not good, especially if you're a Catholic. We already know that they've sent the FBI after conservative pro-life Catholics.
Without objection. Director, what's the difference between a traditional Catholic and a radical traditional Catholic?
I'm not an expert on the Catholic orders.
Well, your FBI wrote a memo talking about radical traditional Catholics. I'm just wondering if you could define it for us.
Well, what I can tell you is you're referring to the Richmond product, which was a single product by a single field office, which as soon as I found out about it, I was aghast and ordered it withdrawn and removed from FBI systems.
You were aghast, then why won't you let us talk to the people who put it together?
We are working on finishing an internal review into what happened
We have to wait. We, the Congress, and the American people have to wait until you do an internal review. It's not a criminal investigation going on here. An internal review before we can talk to the people who wrote this?
When we finish our internal review, which will be very soon, we will come back before the committee
in America?
to provide a briefing on what we found.
Well, we appreciate the briefing, but we want to talk to the people who wrote it. Any idea how many Catholics there are in America, Director?
No, sir.
There's a lot, over 60 million. What percentage of those are radical traditional Catholics, according to the Richmond field office of the FBI?
Again, that product is not something that I will defend or excuse. It's something that I thought was appalling and removed it.
Let's read from that product, page 4 of that product. By the way, the copy you gave us, when can we get a copy that didn't have all these redactions on it so we can actually see what the American taxpayers were paying for to see their rights, their First Amendment religious liberty rights attacked? Let me just read from page 4. Provide new opportunities to mitigate extremist threat through outreach to traditional Catholic parishes and the development of sources with the placement and access to report on places of worship.
As these dangers, enemies within, that's how they treated him. So he knows that would be endorsed and have the full-fledged endorsement of the American voter, which is why we have to throw them out. You got to vote them out, or it will get worse. I'm not saying things will get better under Trump. I'm saying things will be so much worse under Harris.
Well,
miserable track record, appalling track record, no policies to speak of.
And the border, right?
And she's got the IQ of a fence post.
Now, I like the way he said that because that sounds like one of his characters, but it is true. She has the IQ of a fence post. That is one of her dumbest things. We have a clip of her to demonstrate just such a thing. She's empty.
What do you say to those people, especially ones who might be concerned that, doing a big closing argument speech at a place like the Ellipse, maybe leaning more into talking about the threat of Trump to democracy and not his threats that you see to the economy?
She said, I don't know if you heard it quite right, but she said, instead of the threats you see to the economy, meaning what you did, that she's focusing on Trump being some kind of a threat. This is the press and the media They're turning on Kamala Harris. I've seen it across the board now. On the last video with Anderson Cooper, they're turning on her. They're starting to ask her the tough questions. Who broke the dam? It was 60 Minutes. It was that Whitaker guy on that 60 Minutes interview who was the first time to give her a tough question. Then came Brett Baer. Now all of the rest of media, when she gets caught losing this election, they want to make sure that they look like they asked her at least one or two hard questions, and they're going to resent her. She's going to be the most unpopular Democrat when she loses. She had one job, and the Democrats are going to be like, how did we end up with the worst candidate in the world? Blame yourself.
One of the things that I love about the American people is we can hold many thoughts at once.
That's not even an answer to the question. She is so dumb. And I hate the way, I'm going to replay the end of that clip just so you can see. Look at her face, how proud she is of her answer. She acts like she's so proud of what she just said.
We can hold many thoughts at once.
And to the Gila Indian River community, the Gila, nothing wrong with me.
He says, nothing wrong with me. Well, then why aren't you running? There's something very wrong with you. That's why they threw you out in a Democratic coup. That's Biden at an Indian reservation where he apologized. It's so sick and weird and bizarre. I'm not even going to show the clip. I'm going to spare him that embarrassment. But now this is about the endorsements. So we saw Mel Gibson endorse Trump, James Woods, all kinds of the lead actor from Shazam. I showed you guys that video. The big news is the newspaper organizations that won't endorse Kamala Harris, just like the Teamsters and some of the unions that would not endorse a candidate, they're turning on her. They're fleeing from her.
This is a big deal. The Washington Post is a left-wing publication. The Washington Post, remember, had the austere scholar language before. They are, by all measures, I would argue, one of the most left-wing publications in the nation. New York Times gives them a run for their money. And they are choosing not to endorse Kamala Harris.
Wow, it's not just them. That's the big news but here's Tim Murtaugh yesterday. Reuben Blogger praised the LA Times staffers who resigned when their paper announced it would not endorse a candidate for president. Guys, the LA Times. She wondered why more people had not quit. Today in Reuben's paper, the Washington Post also said they will not endorse. Papers are coming out. LA Times said they wouldn't endorse, and a bunch of their staffers quit. Good. You have the wrong staff. Maybe you should turn around and hire a bunch of conservative journalists who will tell the truth.
They have endorsed all the theories about what a threat to democracy Donald Trump is. Go read their editorial page. Go read their reporting. And they're not endorsing in this race. What a way to undercut, kneecap, totally undermine Kamala Harris's closing argument.
They're absolutely undermining her argument. How can she run on saying that the other guy is some kind of a totalitarian dictator in the newspaper who report on all of that, then don't endorse her? Why don't they feel so strongly against a totalitarian dictator like Donald? They must not really believe it.
This guy is a fascist. This guy is unpalatable. This guy is a threat to democracy. Oh, but we're not going to endorse in the race. What an insult to Kamala Harris. And add to that, the LA Times, and add to that, the unions. Kamala, who do you have when you've lost the Washington Post?
Even the far lefty rags are not going to ever endorse Kamala Harris. Here's the news article from CNBC. It was Jeff Bezos himself who killed the Washington Post endorsement of Kamala Harris. The paper reports. Who's to blame? He wants to get his name out as a fellow. He's the one who's big, just like Elon Musk. He has his own space program. He wants everyone to know in public that he is not endorsing Kamala Harris, and his liberal rag, the Washington Post, which is terrible. They are not going to endorse Kamala Harris either. You're going to see this news blow up now all this week. People are going to flee. The rats are going to flee from that sinking ship. That's going to be the news this week. I predict people are going to start distancing themselves from her, and the Democrats are going to start attacking each other. And meanwhile, here's Trump having fun at McDonald's.
I like this show. I think I might come back and do it again. Thank you. Look at that.
I'm Doug in Exile.